How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to go over how to price check items and how to use the trade house to your advantage. These are questions I see come up with new players all the time in regards to what is the price of an item or how to purchase things and ensure that they are not wasting their FEs. Especially as a newer player, you will often run into situations where you don't really have very much FE, so you're trying to stretch it as far as you can, and that's what this video is going to try to help you do. So first things first, when it comes to price checking an item, say if you got a unique item to drop, one of the things that you can do in order to price check your item is if you actually click on the item itself, there is this hammer up in the upper right hand corner. If you click on this, you will see the list of prices come up. So this is just the first step in the process. Don't always trust the first price that you see here, because there's this filter button down below, which is going to help you ensure that you're seeing the price for the item that you actually got. Alternatively, one of the other things you can do if you want to help yourself out is if you click on these three lines here, you can click details. You can see the minimum and maximum ranges for the specific mods itself. Once you've played for a while, you'll start to learn which mods are like actually important on an item or not, or which mods people typically find the most important on an item. So for this shield specifically, the most important mod on this is the +2 to lightning skill level, because this can roll 1 or 2. You'll see most likely the one that is 5 FE is going to be one that has +1 to lightning skill level, and the other one is going to be +2. The critical strike rating is probably the second most important mod that people care about on here. Some people may care about the sealed mana, others won't. So for me, I would at least price check it first with just the +2. And we'll search and we'll see here, the price on this one is actually going to be 35 FE min. And if we search it with the critical rating as well, then that price is going to go up even further. Same thing goes if you were to check it with the sealed mana. That may change things even further. One of the other important things to ensure that you check is if it's a brand new item that you just got as a drop, you'll want to check this box for corroded gear, because gear that is not corroded on specific uniques has or specific legendary items rather, will have a drastically different price. There's a lot of uniques or legendary items rather that people will buy specifically non-corroded, and they'll pay a premium on that, and then once the item has been corroded and they did not hit the corrosion that they want, then they end up selling the item at a much lower price. So ensure that you're checking this box for corroded gear if you have an item that is not corroded. It is very important. Same thing with the item level. You can set it to 80 to ensure that you're only looking at options that have the full possible energy that's available on the item. Level 80 is where items start to drop with the maximum available energy that they have. Sometimes this is important, sometimes it's not, but items that are lower than level 80 you'll see will typically be a little bit cheaper because the total maximum energy they can have will be a lot lower, depending on how much below level 80 the item is. So now that we have this filter search and we can use this, we can also use this price checking or these filters rather to our advantage when we are trying to look for our own gear. So say we were specifically looking for this specific shield here that we wanted as +2 lightning. Let's go ahead and show how we would go about looking for that on the auction house. So if we go to the advanced tab here, this is where we'd want to go. We want to click on the second one here for legendaries. If we go down to shield, I believe this is an int shield, and we got mistaken authority here, and then this is where we'd want to set things. So say if you wanted to ensure that you were getting a shield that was at least level 80 so that it has the maximum energy possible on it, and say we wanted to get one with +2 lightning skill level, and say we specifically wanted one that was not corrupted because we wanted to try to corrupt it ourselves in order to try to hit the +3 lightning. So we'd say corroded gear no, and we can basically check and add all of these extra filters here. For testing sake, I want to showcase as well that if you are clicking on an item that has multiple number values here, so as you see 1, 2, and 3, you use these boxes here in order to change between which number value you're changing. Like this first one will be for this first number value, this one will be for the second value, and the number 3 will be for the third value. So say I wanted to change the amount of ES, whatever value it was. Certain items have multiple variables like that where you may need to change, but in this case we don't actually need to search it. So once we do this, we'd be able to click search, and now you can see the prices on the ones that are non-corroded with this specific, they're level 80, they have +2 to lightning, and they're not corroded. So if we wanted to buy one of these that we were going to try to corrupt, this is how you would go ahead and search that. So one of the other unique tricks you can do, this is also something you can do with Infinity. For example, if you were looking for an Infinity belt with a specific mod on it, this is how you would go to belt. Under base gear, you would select Infinity, and here you're going to see every single Infinity mod that's possible. So say we were looking for one with, I don't know, let's check with Paralyzed. We can search it with Paralyzed, and we're just going to see belts with Paralyzed on it. And then if we wanted to add even more mods, say we wanted Paralyzed and we wanted Erosion, on this, it is important that you search with capital letters. I would try with capital letters first always, and if you're not seeing it with capital, then try it with a lowercase. Certain mods are capitalized, other mods are not. It's really hit or miss because of the way the translation works, so ensure that you're checking both with a capital and with not. So say we wanted Paralyzed with Erosion Resistance, we're going to see just the one here. So yeah, so that covers how to search for unique items. This filtering rather is important when you are trying to find base items. So say you were looking to find a crafting base specifically for yourself. Let's say you wanted the chest armor that gives focus blessings. So we select this right here, Long Night Sorcerer's Robe. For crafting, you want to ensure that the item level that you're getting is going to be 85. If it's something you can afford, then I'd recommend always purchasing item level 85 or higher, because that is what is required in order to get tier 1 mods on the item, or all available tier 1 mods. There are certain tier 1 mods that do not require 85, but a lot of them do. So just to be safe, it's recommended to do that. To specifically search for a white base and only a white base, you would want to click this random affixes here. You want to go ahead and click on this here, and then you go to max, and you set max to 0 and minimum to 0. And this is only going to show white item bases with this mod on it here. You can see these are quite expensive. Let's look for something a little bit cheaper here so I can showcase something else as well. Let's just search for a Respected Tutor's Robe. So when you search for these, you're going to see a lot of them. They might be low energy on them. So one of the other things that I like to do typically when it's very early in the league or I don't have very much currency is I will put in energy as well. The maximum energy for a chest is going to be 122. For other items, it's going to be 61. But so you can click the search here, you see, okay, there's none of them up with 122. Let's go ahead and take this down to like 115 and see how many we're seeing that are popping up. So then you can go for this, and you can already find an item that already has high energy for yourself. You might not have very many of the currency yet that is going to increase the energy. So sometimes this can save you a little bit of money early on as well when you're buying early crafting bases. Next thing I wanted to cover is how to search for an item with a specific corrupted implicit. So in my case, let's go ahead and search for the marksman gloves that I am wearing here, or that I like to use. So for these, under search criteria, what you'd want to be doing if you're looking specifically for a corroded gear with a corrupted implicit on it. So in my case, we're looking for the paralyze on hit for these. So you would want to go to the item itself, and it is important to look at the items. So say if you don't actually know what the mods on it are, you'd want to click and look on the item here. And if you go to details, if you don't know the max values for the things, you want to look at, I would suggest just writing them down in Notepad or something else, all the mods on the item here, so that you know the maximum values for all these items here. Because what we're going to want to do is we want to go back to the search and we want to actually set all of these in here. So to ensure that we're only seeing items with a corrupted implicit, or items that have not increased anything whatsoever. So for gear evasion, it was 350, and we're going to set these to the max values for everything. So we max 350, the life is 60, I believe the jumps is 2, projectile damage is 60, and the additional damage per jump is 6. So we want to only see the things with these maximum values here. So this will show us just, 30 projectile damage, not 60. And max is 30. Yep, there we go. So this will show us just the ones with the corrupted implicits here. So as you can see here, this is going to be projectile damage or physical damage conversion, mark on hit, conversion. This one has nothing. This is the only way to search for corrupted implicits at this time, but what I recommend doing is if you're looking through, if you find one that has a certain price that's already the lowest, then I recommend you just click the star button here to add it to your collection and keep searching through the list, because you might be able to find cheaper, but you also don't want to purchase right away without looking to see if there's a cheaper one already available. So you'd go through all the pages here. Depending on the item, there might be more or there might be less, but this is I guess the maximum projectile damage is actually 20. Messed this up a little bit, but we'll go through. There's not going to be too many of them, hopefully. So from here again, you just go through all the pages depending on what you want, or on what you're looking for. If you want specifically with maximum energy, you can also set level 80 requirement on the item, but you would just go through here and search. We know we have the pair that we already found that's 15 FE, so we don't have to select those. But you would go through and you would just select all of these until you're positive that you have found the cheapest pair out there. Depending on what you see, sometimes the first one you find is just going to already be the cheapest, but other times it might not be. I'm going to select this one because I don't remember if the first one we selected was actually level 80 or not, but I know this one is. So we can go through and just keep clicking through. So this is one of those things that you just want to do. Same thing goes if you actually have an item that you sold or that you're selling yourself, and you hit a corrupted implicit on it, then you would do this exact same thing. Once you know you've looked through the entire list, you would go back to your collection over here, and you can see I do this when I'm pricing to purchase items as well. You would basically select and say, okay, this is the one I'm going to buy, and then you purchase from there. Another thing to keep in mind is also if you find item bases to sell, little things is, again, check the details. If you find things that have a perfect base affix like this, you can typically get a little bit more for them than something that only has the 8%. The 8%ers will be hard to sell, but if you find these again with the maximum base affix, depending mainly for jewelry is where this comes in, you can typically get 2 FE for them. Instead of the 1 that everyone else is charging for other things. So you can go ahead and do this and make sure you're clicking those. So one of the next things I wanted to go over is how to use the filter for checking price ratios on things and how to check the price on things before you buy them. So something that can definitely help you out is, say if you are crafting, for example, and you were getting low on ruling embers, I would recommend you check the price on these before you run out, before you need to buy more. So when you get down to 1 or 2 and you know you're going to need to be purchasing more, or you expect to have to be purchasing more, I suggest clicking the filter button to check the price. So as we see here, the best prices available are going to be 0.20. There's a few for 0.20, a few for 0.21. The price differences you'll see will vary more on things like compasses. For example, like this difference in price can be fairly more dramatic, or things like beacons where you'll see varying different prices on them depending on how valuable the item is. This is where the filtering options really come in handy. So we can also look at like soul burst embers, for example. Okay, for the ruling embers here, we see again the best prices that are available are 0.20 and 0.21. Say if we wanted to only be purchasing ruling embers at the cheapest price that was available, we would go to the trade house here. We're going to go down to rare embers here, ruling ember. We're going to go ahead and click search. So this is just going to give us a full list of the embers. We don't want to have to do this math in our head on every single item. So what you can do is actually you can click this button. This is highlight prices here. The button you want to click, you want to ensure that you click the second one here. This allows you to set a ratio price. So say we only wanted to see items that were the maximum price was 0.20 FE per. So this is going to give us the ratio price, so it's only going to show us the listings that are at that 0.20 price, which is going to be the cheapest ones that we saw available. We'll change it to 0.21 just for the example of this test because there was a little bit more of those. So we'll set it to 0.21, and this is only going to show us the ones that are at the best price available. So this way we can just quickly go through all these pages until we see one that's actually lit up. That's going to showcase the price that we're actually looking for here. So there we go. There's 1 FE for 5. So that's going to be one of those ones that was 0.20. If we were actually buying these, then you would just buy them right on the spot, and you would continue to go through this way. Same thing goes, like if you are looking for an item, say you do not actually already have in your inventory. If you are buying beacons, for example, my recommendation is to say we're looking for some, I don't know, T8 beacons. We would want to go through the prices. I'd recommend going through a few pages first. Like if you're going to be buying quite a few of these, I'd go through a few pages to see if you can find any that are already a little bit lower. So say I would find these ones here that were 3 for 5, and I would buy one of these first, and then I would price check it to ensure that that was the lowest price before I started buying more. Because after you buy one, say at this 5 for 3 price, you may look and realize, okay, that 1.66 is the cheapest price available. Or you may look and realize that there's some up for like 1.2, for example, whatever it may be. Then you would want to go back in here and search again for that, because that way you can ensure that you're always purchasing the cheapest ones available, and ensure that you're not just wasting money because of not realizing that there were some cheaper ones laying around for you. So yeah, one of the next things that I wanted to go over, or one of the last things I wanted to go over, is something a little bit more advanced, but can also definitely help people out when it comes to saving a lot of money early on. So I personally tried to craft a necklace with this +1 lightning skill level. I spent over 200 ruling embers at the time, when ruling embers were still roughly 1 FE per, or maybe like 3 of them for 2 FE. Like they were still pretty expensive. The price on them has gone down a bit now, but very early on in the league they were very expensive, and I wasted a lot of them. So something you can actually do is, say you have this +1 lightning skill level here, we can actually just go and search for a necklace that already has this mod on it. So say we wanted to just search for a necklace, we didn't care the base, we just wanted the +1 lightning on it. We can set the +1 lightning skill level. Depending on what you're looking for, if you are looking for an item that is easy to continue crafting on, or to fix, basically, you'd want to set this random affixes here, and we're going to set this max affixes to 4. As soon as the affixes get over 4, it starts to get really expensive. Even at 4, it's already decently expensive, so we can look for ones that say maximum 3, for example, first. So some of these are expensive because people know these are easy to craft on from here. But if we go to random affixes 4, we might be able to find one of these a little bit cheaper. So see here, the price is already starting to drop a bit. This one still has 3. Let's go to random affixes 5 here and see if there's any that are popping up that are actually 4. Oh, it looks like this is the maximum on this is not appears to be 1 off. So if you're looking for maximum 4, you'd want to actually be searching maximum 5, because it doesn't seem to be doing less than or equal to. This is just less than 5 here. Good to know. So say if we were looking through these again, maximum 4 things here. So from here, I'd recommend, again, if you're finding ones that are at a lower price, we can go ahead and start saving these, because some of these might already have multiple of the mods that you may want on your necklace, for example. And when items have 4, you can easily basically correct them or fix them from where they're at, because when you're actually using your embers, you can just ensure that you're spamming your embers until they overwrite the bad mods that you do not want. Alright guys, that's about it for the trade house for now. In the next video, I'm going to be covering my recommended strategies for starting out in the Atlas and in the Nether Realm, and my recommendations for how to quickly unlock the cards that are going to earn you the most money. If you have any questions about anything you saw today, feel free to leave it down below and I'll be more than happy to answer it. And if you liked what you watched today and you want to find more content like it or updates on my future builds, please subscribe, and other than that, see you in the next one.